Hi, welcome to Political Perspectives. I'm your host, Kari Lerner, Chair of the Democratic Party of Lee County, Florida. Today, I'm going to talk about a part of the pledge that most of us grew up reciting and many of us firmly believe in, and the portion of the pledge that says liberty and justice for all. You can't have liberty and justice for all without equality, without inclusivity. And there were a couple of events this weekend that really focused on that. There was a gathering of women and men sponsored by the Women's March Fort Myers and the Lee County chapter of NOW, the National Organization for Women. And the focus there, as you could well imagine, was women's health care, abortion rights. There is a petition, if you're not familiar with it, there is a petition going around that we in the Democratic Party are fully supporting, which is to put an amendment on the ballot in 2024, allow the voters of the state of Florida to determine access to abortion. And additionally, equality, it starts, if nothing else, it starts with having access to healthcare, having control over your own body. Gloria Steinem, I met Gloria Steinem in 2016, and I'll never forget, she said, the government's interference should end at your skin. The government should not be able to dictate. No one should be able to come between you and your healthcare provider or someone you love and their healthcare provider as to what procedures, what medical procedures, what access to healthcare they should require. So that was a big focus of the Women's March, but it was also the Women's March group. It wasn't a march. It was a gathering, a group. But it's also about equality across the board. It starts with access to healthcare, but equal pay, equal access. It's very important. And I think it's really interesting that the same day was later on was the Realize the Dream March, which is an event to remember the 1963 March for Civil Rights. I was fortunate to meet some of our members of the NAACP here locally who were able to meet John Lewis when he came down to Fort Myers in the early 2000s in support of the fight for equality. Now, the NAACP, the current president is James Milwaukee. And I attended the NAACP meeting, and there were some things that he talked about that I was really struck by. There were 2 points he made. The first point in that meeting, the first point was that we are all equal. And he not only talked about that, but he made sure that the microphone went around the room and every single person was asked to stand up and give their name and share anything else that they felt needed to be shared, because we are all equal. We, the people, we are all equal. And I thought that's an action. That's not just talking about it. That's putting the words into action. Now, part of our challenge with equality is access. Do we have equal access? There are 2 large communities in Lee County who are minority-majority districts, and yet we have no minorities represented in government because we do not have single-member districts. Now, I'm going to get a little wonky on you here for a minute. Our county commissioners are all elected by everyone in the county. So even though you might live in District 1, you vote for all the county commissioners. And yet, though your District 1 is supposedly your commissioner. Well, how can that adequately represent minority communities, when you have minority and majority communities that are not able to get their candidates elected. We need to be moving towards single member districts. There were in the every 10 years we redraw the lines in all of the districts, and the NAACP did put forward a recommended map that they worked in conjunction with a couple of attorneys to make sure that they were covering the letter of the law. And the map that they put together was summarily rejected. And now we're seeing the results of that. So, but the second thing that Brother James, at the NAACP meeting, the second thing he said was diversity is not just the color of your skin. Diversity is how you look at and how you treat people. And I thought that was a really important point, because I have had people say to me, well, Ms. Lerner, you're you're an older white lady. You cannot know or understand my lived experience. And they are absolutely right to say that. I can't own someone else's life experience. But what I can tell you is, and many others like me, we have eyes, we can see the injustice. We have ears, we can hear the cries. We have a heart that we can feel your pain. We have arms to hold you, hands to help, and I have a mouth from which I can speak. So as an ally to the various underserved communities, I am here, we are here, join with us. Make sure you're using your power. Yes, I'm going to say it again. Your vote is your power. Stop giving it away. We need to make sure that everyone we know, okay, I'm registered to vote, I'm enrolled in vote by mail, but let's make sure, check with your friends and your family and your church members and your club members and the people you play basketball with or pickleball or whatever. Make sure everyone is registered to vote, and you can go to lee.vote and check your voter registration. And while you're there, make sure that you are enrolled in vote by mail, because they wiped everyone off the rolls. Republican legislation with the Republican supermajority last year, as of December 31st, 2022, everyone was wiped off the mail-in ballot. So you need to resubmit, re-enroll for your ballot to vote from home. Doesn't mean you have to vote from home. We've talked about this before in this podcast. You can fill out the ballot and mail it in. You can fill out the ballot and drop it at one of the supervisor of elections offices. There are 5 of them. You can fill out the ballot and drop it in the collection boxes, which will be at the early voting sites. And you can drop it off, or you can fill it out and take it with you to the voting site and maybe take a picture of it, because it gives you a chance to do your research when you have the ballot in front of you. Do your research, fill out the ballot, take a picture of it, take the ballot with you to the polling site, turn your ballot in and get a regular ballot and vote just like you always do. But being enrolled in vote by mail gives you every opportunity to do that. But right now, what we need to be doing is making sure that everyone we know has that power. It really is power. We've had the same people in charge for 40 years. 40 years they've been running things. If you're not happy with the way things are going, make a change. We've got some amazing candidates coming forward this year. Try voting Democratic, whether you're a Democrat or not. I mean, our environment has been destroyed. We do not have equality. We're losing our rights right and left. The only way that can truly change is with the vote, is to elect people who are not just going to talk about equality and actions, but are going, you can see that they're going to do what they're talking about. I'm Kari Lerner, chair of the Democratic Party of Lee County, and this is Political Perspectives. Thank you for joining us.